guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, we got it figured out. So what do you think? How did that happen? Do we know how to fix it in the future? So reset everything? Okay, whatever. All right, I'm just going to pull up your stuff you sent me so I can put it in, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Close the door, please. Thank you very much. All good? Can you hear? Okay. My sound engineer, Dr. Nader, is checking.
You talk too, dear.
Oh, that's amazing.
One more time. Just talk for a minute.
Just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Great to see you.
Great to see you. All right. So we're recording, yes?
Yes. You're all recording right now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you. And thank you. And thank you. And thank you. All right. Well, hello, Miss Sol. Nice to see you.
Hello, Dr. G. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to welcome you to our podcast. We're just starting out, and you're one of our amazing guests. I had an opportunity to spend time with you in Chicago, and so I thought, as much as I'd like to kind of give your accolades, and the reason I wanted to have you on our podcast, which is termed Brain, Hope, and Reality, is a big part. I think hope is a huge part of life. I assume you would agree with me. And
Yes.
one of the things I was intrigued with when you and I had a chance to chat in Chicago is that you talked about how you worked with women and how you're working with somatics, or how if you put the body in the right position, it affects the mind. So it goes back and forth. And I think a lot of people don't quite realize that. And that's why brain, I'm self-taught neuroscientist. I don't have any formal training in that. But I think it's important people to realize the reality of how the body actually works. I think if you do it, you can help yourself. And then, so hope, to me at least, what I was very intrigued with, the way you described how you treat people. And I'm looking forward to our discussion on that. Obviously, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, but somehow or other I fell into this section of fight and flight system resetting. And you were here, you're kind enough to accompany one of our patients. And I think hopefully you saw firsthand some of the responses. So if you can just give us a quick background and what you currently do, where you're located. You're like a globetrotter. I'm here in one spot in Chicago forever. You're like, oh, where are you today? Yes, Switzerland. Where are you right now? I don't know. Florida, Brazil, Miami. You're like, oh my God, I don't know how you keep track of it. Anyway, welcome. Welcome, Sal.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What a pleasure seeing you again. And yeah, I am very, very thankful to be here, to be able to connect with you again, and to be able to add value to whoever is listening to that. I am an international women's coach, but before I was working as a teacher, and there were so many things that I could learn from the kids, from their behavior, their emotion, and I'm very much into inner child healing. I see that the most of the women that I support have this layer of programming that they receive as a child, and some of them are easy, some of them are not, and I'm not trying to judge anybody, but I just see that there is so much pressure that comes to them, and it's about really allowing them to open up a space where they can release all that pressure with the body wisdom. And I do retreats, I do workshops, I do one-on-one coachings, and I travel around the world because I speak 6 languages, and that helps me to support and help and give my gifts to all the women in different parts of the world. And I'm very, very happy to do what I do. Yeah.
It must be very fulfilling, right? I mean, the same reason I love to get up every morning. It's like I see people's smile and faces and how it changed their life. I mean, that's as a clinician, and I think you're a clinician in your own right, I think that's why we do what we do. I think that's why you and I are connected at that level, because we both care about people.
Yeah.
Just as a background, I don't know if you recall, but my mother took her life when I was an intern, and that's part of the reason I'm very interested in helping. I'd like to help all types of people, of course, but women is one of particular interest. The other one is military. You can see some challenge coins there. But today, my focus would be on women and women's health. So can you just tell us, like, for example, what do you actually currently do? I'm one of those, how do you, I'm more of a rigorously trained physician, right? So can you just walk us through briefly, how do you decide who needs what treatment? What do you actually do? What kind of results have you seen?
Well, it's everybody
could be
comes,
different, right?
yeah, everybody comes with a different story. Some of them just need really to organize their thoughts, and it's something in their head where you just see, okay, that the way you are seeing that story is not very supporting you to who you want to become. So really overthinking and talking about and recognize and realize, to be really conscious about it, and then choose to tell the story in a way where they can feel the empowerment, because I really do believe that's always both sides of the coins, right? You always have maybe a bad story, but out of that you can take so much resilience, and that helps you to build your character in a way that you can use it for your future, or that you can recognize what is superpower. Because I think one of the most beautiful gifts that you will receive in your life are the gifts that hurts a lot when you receive it.
It's hard to appreciate during the
And
time you receive that gift, isn't it? So,
excuse me?
What I was saying, it's kind of interesting. You're on another side of the globe right now. We're able to communicate. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is, it's kind of great. A gift like that is amazing later. At the time, it doesn't feel amazing, does it?
No, it's very hard. It's very hard.
Yeah,
but I think
the
sooner you are conscious and you're able to realize that life works for you, so that you can have other soft skill that you didn't have before, or that you can be more have more empathy with somebody that goes through that story, so you can tell about that. And it's very, very powerful if you have somebody that is also like taking care of their mental health, and can look and see, wow, you've been to that transformation, like a butterfly, but the butterfly can't see their own wings. They will need somebody else to see their own wings. And that's like more the coaching part. Yeah.
And that's what the coaching does, right? So basically, it sounds to me like you go where the people need to be going.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
So
yeah.
Everybody is unique. Do you use anything like yoga and retreats and Buddhism, or what kind of tools?
Yeah. I do use a lot of active meditation. It comes from Osho. He was a really interesting, crazy dude that impacted a lot of us, like from the spiritual scene. His meditation are, like I said, very active, and he works with the chakras. And it's really about like leaving your mind, leaving your head, and going into your body, and to be focused on your inner world, like to feel your body internally, what it does, and not to judge. Because I think where the most suffer comes is when we judge our emotion.
Right. Oh, no, I agree with you, because a lot of times, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it is the fear of, oh my goodness, what will I be thinking, or what other people will be thinking if my body does what the body does. And that is really, really interesting to see how much power it is in it when we leave the body, like just do what it needs to do, to shake or whatever it is there. And it's like a sort of releasing. It's amazing to be part of this transformation.
So basically, you're allowing the body to do whatever it needs to do. Like, for example, if you have a polar bear that's overstressed, they start to shake, right? So
Yeah.
the shaking is a normal response to a body. But if you try to suppress it, it's not going to go very far because the body can respond.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you do. Yeah. It's basically, yeah, exactly. Self-doubt, especially what I found, especially in my female patients or women, it's like this amount of self-doubt and am I worthy of being treated? That drives me absolutely crazy. That just drives me nuts. To see that, and especially the stronger the women, they seem to beat themselves up the most, which is like, it's like, I can't understand it. I keep asking my wife about it and I just don't understand it. It's just, like my mother had a great saying. She said, never say anything bad about yourself. Somebody will do it for you.
Yeah, that's true. Right? That's a good one.
Why self beat up? By the way, there is a book I'd like to recommend for you to look at, and maybe for your patients, clients. It's called The 5 Practices of Highly Resilient People.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to take a note.
And others fold. And I'll put a link for that. So I was amazingly blessed to meet this author. Her name is Dr. Taryn Maria Stejjakal, I think is how it's pronounced. But basically, she talks about horrible stuff that happened to her in childhood. And you're talking about a nasty gift at the time, but she's done something amazing with it. And what she is doing, she actually got a degree in psychology and I think neurosciences, and she's a global coach. So I'm going to introduce you guys to each other. Maybe it'll be a really good synergy between two of you. She's an amazing lady.
Sounds great.
By the way, Sol, if you don't mind, I think we should do a pitch for whatever website you'd like people to see. I'm sure there's going to be people who'd like to come to your retreats and or interact with you anyway. I think it'd be amazing. So we'll put it down, but if you can just tell us what it is, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's womancircleretreat.com. And there you can find, the retreats, the upcoming events from Bali to Switzerland to Miami to Brazil, whatever.
Do you have anything coming up? I heard there's something coming up in the United States.
Yeah, in Miami, we're going to do a Women's Circle retreat in Miami. It's about really recognizing, like, how do you say, open up a space where you can discover yourself. It's always about self-discovery because it's really, I just saw that recently, studies were showing that only 5% of the people really know who they are and really put that integrity in action. And 15% think they know who they are. And the rest doesn't really think about it. They're just existing instead of creating.
Can you kind of tell me more what knowing what you are means? How do you define that? What's the metric of that?
Like defining in the deepest... Yeah, in the deepest core, right? I think like one of the most important questions that you will ever ask yourself is like, who am I? Who am I? Without any titles, without like having to function or having to curve or being somebody that the society wants you to be, like taking this space where you can be just like experiencing yourself as a human to get the soul answer. And it's very interesting to open up this space because nowadays everything moves so fast and we have so much things to do and so quickly is everything, and we are used to hustle and function and produce, especially for a woman that is actually not really in her feminine nature to just function the whole time. to really be able to open up a space and to allow her to come in this feminine, very soft, caring nature that she is. And I think that the world needs more kindness, the world needs more softness, the world needs more love. And that's just a space where you can discover yourself without any abstraction, without the cell phone, without TV, without nobody judging you or telling you what to do or not to do.
So let me ask you a question. So in Mexico, there's an election coming up. There are 2 women running. So there's going to be a female president in Mexico. I think first time ever.
Oh, wow.
What do you think of that? What do you think the impact on society can be?
Like I was talking to a doctor. She also knows a lot about economic and also does a women's retreat, and was very interesting to hear from her that whatever the country has this sisterhood, or where the woman is in tuned and aligned with her power and connected with other women, the economic economic roles,
Growth. Growth, economic growth.
The economic
or
growth
prosperity.
expands, and it's like huge, and it's like this nurturing forces that we have, and wherever it's not like that, it's quite bad to see. And it's very interesting, I think, when we are like open, when we are open to discover this power, and we are open to open up the space. So I think it's great to hear that. I like that. I like
Exactly.
that.
And
Yeah.
I was watching, my wife and I were watching a program on curiosity. It's like a learning video. And there was a psychologist from Yale who was talking about what would happen if women are in charge as opposed to men were in charge. And that's exactly what they were talking about, more of an integration. The idea is to integrate, right? So if you look at the woman's brain, so corpus callosum, which connects 2 hemispheres, 2 parts of the brain, is 2-3 times thicker in women as opposed to men.
Oh,
so
interesting.
You're actually using more of your brain compared to the guys. So if you look at the guys and say, men can multitask, not really, not particularly well. That's like, and my wife can do many more multitasking at the same time. And I think it's very interesting to see. And I think as you look at the movement, where we are at societal levels, I think there are pressure of women becoming more in charge of committees. All the crazy stuff, misogynistic stuff seems to be falling apart, hopefully, because I think we need to save the world. And I think people like yourself also want to integrate the nature. Like you and I have talked about how much you love nature. We have a house in Michigan, which is all trees, basically trees and birds. So it's such a relief to be there, right? So it's all integration, but continuous striving is very hard on the body, right? And especially if you have self-destructive capabilities, that's a point for disaster. The other thing, is something I know quite a bit about is trauma. I personally had personal trauma, and I write papers on that. So having PTSD, just keep in mind, post-traumatic stress disorder, which is a term I'm trying to change to PTSI, by the way. And I think you sent me a beautiful picture. You're wearing this pin. And if you look here, it says PTSI, not PTSD. We're trying to get rid of the term D. I sent a proposal to American Psychiatric Association, tried to change that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but hopefully we'll make it.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
Yeah, me too. People have tried it in 2012 without success, but I think we'll do it this time. I hope. Got my fingers crossed.
Yes.
Anyways, the biology of trauma, if somebody has PTSD, or PTSI, the chance of heart attacks is twice as high, because just having a mental issue does affect the heart and the lungs and everything else, increases chance of cancer. It suppresses the immune system. It does a lot of things. There's also studies showing using epigenetic Harworth clock that people are aging quicker. So I think one of the things I hope that people will take away from this particular speech is that no matter technique you use, mental health should be addressed, because living in misery, it's one of the things I always talk about. You cannot live in misery. You can, but if you have a choice, do something about it. Get out of the crazy circumstance where you don't have to live in misery. You can, there are skills, there are people like yourself. There's many other skilled professionals that can help you. Just having, and just one of the things that I'm going to bring up just absolutely blew my mind. There was a young lady in Sweden. She was on a field trip with her class. She was 16 at the time. There was an explosion, bomb explosion, terrorist attack. Half her classmates were killed. So she fell into severe depression for 5 years.
Wow.
And then in Belgium, they are now, it's legal to have euthanasia for mental health issues. So at 23 years old, she was euthanized beginning of this year. What's interesting to me is that she was on 12 different medications at the time. She's done every psychological thing available. Certainly didn't do stuff I do, which is stealth ganglion block or DSR or ketamine. Certainly didn't do what you do, but it's permanent, right? I mean, she was medically killed. So to me, what I'm hoping is people expand their mind. The same old thing doesn't have to continue. Let's do something different and hope for better results, right?
Yes, very important. And also to mention, like, if you have always the same thoughts and you're like in this negative loop in your head, there is no way that you have the energy to really do something that encourages you and empowers you, right? So I think whoever is listening to this podcast right now, if you are stuck in this negative loop of thinking that you are not enough or not worthy, I think that is why you should do it right now, because it won't get any better. It gets even worse, and it takes out your energy little by little, slow by slow, and it's not worthy to stay stuck there, right? Because life is so precious. Like, I mean, every single minute where you can be thankful to walk, to breathe, to see, there's so many wonderful things waiting for you. So
there's no need for a slow death, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Step out of the misery, and I think there are options. The point is, whatever's not working, change something. Yeah. I learned that in trauma, when somebody's dying, you don't want to keep doing the same thing because they're not gonna make it. So change something. Same thing here. So I think looking at your website, maybe reading a book of my friend, Highly Resilient People, 5 Practices. It blew my mind. I think you may enjoy reading that. There's an audio version of that too. It's interesting, as you said. You don't appreciate trauma at the time, so there is definitely post-trauma learning. When I read that originally, I thought, oh my God, that's just crazy. What do you mean? What can trauma teach us? It can teach you a lot, but it takes time to get in there, right? And you're alive, you made it.
Yeah, and it takes courage. I mean, I started a women's circle because I was like suffering from love. Like I was so in love, and then I didn't expect, but he broke up with me. So I was like having so much heart pain, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't wish that for my biggest enemy. And how can I heal that heart that is bleeding so much right now? So I tried a lot of healing stuff and trying to get over it and to solve it, because I didn't want to feel the same pain again. So I was like, I'm going deep, and I'm going to take the time just to heal my heart. And that is where I found peace within me. And that is what I share also to the women in the women's circle. Not only that, but also really to give this buffet that I have learned this present, and to give it back. And I think that is so powerful. And what you been through too, like losing your mother and then coming out of that like much more powerful with a message to give something back, their uniqueness, to give a better life quality with your work. And that is so amazing and it's so beautiful. And it needs a lot of courage. It needs a lot of courage to go out there and say, you know what, and I'm gonna change this. And it's so powerful.
I got to share one of my other favorite comments. My father used to say that. And he said, it's like if you had the bin of milk and two frogs fall in it. So one of them goes, time for me to die. Another one goes, I'm not dying. I'm going to fight to the last moment. So he starts to swim, beats up, milk becomes butter and jumps out. So the point is, I think persistence, it gets better. There's physical pain, there is hope. I mean, that's why the name of the
beautiful
kid, military man. Unfortunately, trauma happens to all. It's a universal condition in the human condition.
Yeah. The question is what? Yeah, it was frozen a little bit. The question is really like, what are you gonna do with that? Do you want to be your own hero of your story, or are you gonna stay in this misery and just thinking that you are the victim?
Yeah,
of the
exactly. The frog that jumps out doesn't sink, right?
Exactly.
So I think we've taken enough of your time, but maybe you can lead us in a meditation to close out. What do you think?
Oh yeah, perfect. I love that. Yeah. We are gonna breathe, because the breath is the connection to your soul, the connection to the world outside of you. Everything just is like the ocean that comes and goes. So we're gonna breathe 5 seconds in, we're gonna hold for 5 seconds, and then we're gonna breathe 5 seconds out with like a release. It's gonna calm you down, it's gonna bring you to the present moment, and it's gonna bring you more peace. Okay, we breathe together in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. And breathe out. Again, breathe in to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it all out. Last time, deep breath in your heart. Hold it. And let it out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we'll stay in touch. Thank you again. It's an honor to have you on our show.
Thank you. Thank you for your invitation. All the best. Thank you for everybody that is listening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Take care. That's pretty cool.
All the struggle and pain I leave behind.